Welcome into the DNVR Broncos Podcast, presented, still not, see, I'm so used to, I did 3 years of that Buffs podcast. It was always presented by somebody. I just don't even have to say that anymore.
Right.
Ah, damn. That's Dre. I'm Henry. I'm back from Montana and Canada and all that. And
amazing. And you could still do it. You still got us on that cold open.
Got it.
Not cold open. That
Real
was a
open,
warm open,
regular open, just a hot open,
caliente open. Yeah, I'd bring it in. Am I right, Henry?
Bring it in. Yep, bring it in. Got the shirt for free. Wow. It's crazy. Like when I was packing, I just went and grabbed my 4 Bring It In shirts. I was like, oh, there we go. Like there's what I need to pack for the next 4 days that I'm gone. So that's really nice and convenient. It's like a whole wardrobe now. But yeah, I saw 3 bears.
Oh,
I saw 2 herds of buffalo.
Oh,
one
my
big buffalo like came up right in front of us. We got a moose, an elk, a bunch of mountain goats. There's a little family of mountain goats on the cliffs. A bunch of bighorn sheep, like 7 or 8 bighorn sheep.
Wow.
Yeah, the marmots, deer.
Gosh, I want to have you over for dinner so you can tell my 5-year-old about this.
Oh, she would love that.
These stories.
She would not like. We went on this hike in Canada, the Crypt Lake hike.
Oh my gosh, that sounds haunted.
It's like a 12-mile hike. So my mom said that it was one of National Geographic's 20 best hikes in the world.
Oh, no.
But she was wrong. It was one of the 20 most thrilling hikes in the world.
Dang.
So you're just walking. That's like a half mile where you're just like on the edge of this mountain, and the path is like this wide, and there's like a chain you hold on to so you don't fall down thousands of feet into the abyss. So yeah, that was kind of stressful.
Were there moments where you wished you would have laid off the illegal Pete's queso a little more on that tight hike?
I felt fine about myself. It was my mother who's
good. Okay.
Well, the age of my mother, and has like a broken wrist and can't hold on to things, and there's like a cave up there that you gotta wiggle.
Oh gosh,
it was dangerous.
Oh,
we should not have gone up there. I'll show you a YouTube video.
My biggest concern
hike.
was you with the bear encounter.
We did not run into bears up there.
In top 20 National Geographic hike category.
Yeah,
that put you in peril.
Yeah, no,
well, I kind of should have seen that. That one is the far more logical one.
Yeah, because you could just fall off the cliff.
Right, and I mean the difference between best and thrilling seems subtle on paper.
Yeah,
in RL, very distinct. Am I right?
There's even like parts where there's like a gap, so there's like rocks sticking out of the side of the cliff that you have to like that's what you're walking on, and it'll just be like a gap, and you like look down. It's like, oh, there's what's below. So that was kind of hell. Some people were just unfazed though, because they're like passing you going the other way, and they'll just like walk out right on the edge.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's fun, man.
So that's where
scary,
I've been,
but fun.
Yeah. Now I'm just back and ready to take a big old nap for an afternoon. But actually, there's just a whole bunch of writing to do.
Yep.
Ooh, here's a question for you. So I figured I'm going through and writing about the position battles / like kind of big questions.
Let's go.
I went through the cornerbacks. Like, is Damari Mathis locked into the number 2 cornerback job? Which he probably is, but there's some debate for cornerback 3.
His to lose.
How many tight ends will steal snaps from Greg Dulcich in 2023? What's that rotation look like? What's next?
Position battle wise.
Yeah. What else
we've
should I
done
write
running
about?
back splits on this pod.
We have. At some point, there's probably running back thing.
We've done edge rotation.
Yep.
On this pod.
Edge is a good one. That's on the list.
Yeah. Strong safety feels like it's up there.
That's the other one that's on the list. There's one more that might be a little bit tougher to get.
A sneaky one?
Yeah, sneaky one.
A sneaky one for me might be, where does Drew Sanders factor into the inside linebacker rotation?
That's
edge rotation.
See, that's kind of the question. How does he get snaps this year? I was thinking punt returners too.
Right, not Drew Sanders returning punts, but doing a punt returner.
Could you imagine? It might work.
Top-rated athlete in the state of Texas when he came out as a high schooler, as a 5-star. So I wouldn't put it past him.
He'd break the first tackle.
Yeah. I mean, it's 6'3", 240 plus. So
yeah. Maybe we should try it.
We should. That's a great idea.
While I was gone, there were a bunch of football things that happened.
So much football stuff.
It's weird how that happens in the NFL, because you say that and you're like, well, what really happened? It's like, well, there wasn't a contract. Like, in terms of running backs, like, nothing happened, and that's what happened. And then that's like the huge story, and it is a huge story. So we're going to talk a little bit about all the running backs not getting contracts. Maybe through a little bit of a Broncos lens with Javonte Williams.
Oh, yeah.
We've got, the Madden ratings coming out. There's a lot to discuss there. We'll get to that. But first, Russell Wilson had a workout in Boulder yesterday at Folsom Field. Interesting. Well, and again, as somebody who's very plugged into Boulder and is sitting on a flight with somebody who's getting email all the pictures, it's like, well, I can't tweet this even though I see all of it right there. But I had my tweet all ready to go because I knew Chris Manhertz was there, which is interesting. But the other guys who were there, not quite so interesting. Javonte Williams, of course, he gets invited to that sort of thing. Cortland Sutton, of course, he gets invited to that sort of thing. Greg Dulcich, he was also there. And that was kind of the workout crew. And it looked like, I didn't watch the full video. The video which actually spelled Russell Wilson's name wrong.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, 2 L's. 2 L's on Russell.
Yep. That'll get you.
But
Russell looked electric, by the way.
Wow,
it was the classic
future Hall of Fame quarterback.
It was the classic pro day setup,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Where we go nuts when we see some kid who could barely win 6 games in the SEC the year prior. Anthony Richardson, that one's for you.
Yeah.
But then you see, a future Hall of Famer who's still got it, and it turns out there's a reason. There's a reason he starts in the NFL.
Turns out when he's throwing on air, he looks pretty good.
He looks pretty dang good.
But it looked like he had a whole line of receivers out there just running routes.
Don't you love that?
Isn't that nice? Like, I was like, why would you go up to Boulder? It's like, because they've got like 15 kids who will just run straight down the field. And you don't have to there's no recovery time. You just get to throw your deep ball over and over and over and over and over again.
It's amazing.
It is. So why not do it?
You think that's the Sean Payton scheme? Oh, you didn't see the video. It's a lot of it's the classic pro day setup.
Yeah.
Boo out. Then, let's run it back. And then, we'll launch it, run him the other way. Which is odd. If Barry Sanders was playing quarterback, that's how he would play it.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Well, and then there was one where it's no, you got to go left. And he goes left, and it's he goes left, just back into the pocket. It's you got to aren't you trying to get around the outside? What's going on here?
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, I got the feeling Sean Payton doesn't want him to hold on to the ball for a solid 7 seconds and run the distance of both hashes zigzagging back and forth.
That wouldn't be I wouldn't scheme it up that way if I was in charge.
I didn't see a ton of that from Drew Brees and the Saints.
No, didn't see it often from Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Even when he was the OC of the Cowboys early, Tony Romo days, I don't think I was seeing a ton of that.
And kind of crazy. Sean Payton wanted to bring Tony Romo with him to the Saints. That was the first thing he wanted to do because Romo was sitting on the bench, undrafted rookie, whatever.
Yep.
I guess maybe he was there a couple years, but hadn't started playing yet. And it's I want to take him. Cowboys said, no, we want him here too. We're not trading him, which is very similar to the Josh McDaniels. I want Matt Castle when I go to the Broncos. And it's no, you didn't get Matt Castle, so you got Jacob. Luckily for Sean Payton, he wound up with Drew Brees, which is a pretty good way to go.
Yeah, it worked out for him. Sniped him from Nick Saban. That's another great sliding doors of the last 20 years of American football right there.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
My big takeaway from that workout, though, is that Chris Manhertz was there. And maybe that shouldn't be too much of a surprise because he's a veteran tight end. He's been a starter in the NFL.
He's kind of locked and loaded into the 53, right?
Totally, he's absolutely locked and loaded. Like I said, he's on a 2-year contract. He's only 31, which up there in age, but in my mind, because he's a blocking tight end, it's he's 36 or something because those guys just feel old. But started 11 games last year, started 10 games the year before that, started 12 games the year before that. He's been a starting tight end in the NFL for a while, and it shouldn't really be a surprise that for a workout like that, a guy who's probably going to start a bunch of games for the Broncos at tight end is there. That shouldn't be a surprise at all.
No, he serves a purpose. He's going to get his snaps because he serves that purpose. And the more reps he gets with Russ as a receiver, the more when he lines up and gets those snaps, inevitably because he's blocking, once in a while when he slips one out or there's a scramble drill, Russ and he have a bit more,
Yep. It's crazy, though, that he can play that much. He's never had 10 targets in a season before.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. How does that even happen? And you even look through the other numbers. And it's not a huge surprise. Like I said, I wrote all this. So if you want all like the nerdy stuff, go to the
Please
website.
do, yes.
When Manhertz was on the field last year, Jaguars ran the ball 65% of the time, which it's a pretty
Checks
big
out.
tell.
You
But
honestly would have thought it's larger.
yeah, that's fair. During his career on passing plays, he's run a route 54% of the time. So even when they do pass, and that includes like the block and release or like scramble drill, I should just go turn around. Like he is there just to block.
He's a 6th blocker.
Targeted 8 times last year. Average depth of target, 2.6 yards.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Like that's 2 steps and turn around.
Yeah.
But
it's literally just an outlet. I mean, it's your check down.
Definitely. And I think when you see stuff like that, it feels like it's kind of just a waste of a spot on the field.
Sure.
But when you lead the NFL in sacks, why not bring in a Chris Manhertz who is really just an upgraded Eric Tomlinson?
Yep.
You know, he's just starting caliber, top of the line blocking tight end, and have him go in there and block. Only have 4 guys run routes. Because if you bring Manhertz in on a 3rd and 8, that might feel kind of frustrating to not have Dulcich out there. But what it means is that Javonte Williams isn't there in pass protection. He gets to go run a route. He doesn't have to stay there and block. He gets to be the one who goes and runs. And I think there's a case we made that you'd rather have him out there sometimes than Greg Dulcich.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not that different from running a jumbo set with 6 offensive linemen, which is something like, gosh, when I was studying Bill Musgrave when he became the new OC, and I was going back to his tape with the Raiders, which was like one of the best Raiders offenses of the last decade. That's where they were really intriguing, was jumbo sets both on 3rd and short and then 3rd and like extra long, where you're just going with extra protection because, look, it's going to be a 5-step drop. We're going to have to run like deep. We're going to have to run deep routes to the sticks. We need that extra protection. And he can, instead of a swing tackle, he can factor in that way. How him and Michael Burton are used is going to be really interesting.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's another guy who's a tell, who's an extra blocker, and is going to function that way. But going back to Manhertz, his blocking tape is really fun.
He's insane.
Yeah.
Like he's what, 6'6", 255. So if he's another dozen pounds, probably need more than that. Give him another 20 pounds. He's arguably a better fit for a tackle than tight end.
Yep.
Yeah. Like then he basically plays that way. And you look at him even in practice, he's just a monster. Like humans don't get built like that very often.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, that's the kind of guy you add because you're expecting to have a lead in some games, and he's the kind of guy you want on the field to close those games out. Something the Broncos haven't really had to do or had the luxury of doing for over half a decade, right?
They haven't really had that player since Virgil Green.
Yeah. This is Sean Payton football, too. Like a blocking tight end.
Yes.
More 12 and 22 personnel.
Exactly.
More 2 running backs, more 2 tight end sets. It's what you'd expect.
And I think that part gets lost because of the passing offenses that Sean Payton has had. Like they're always top 5 in passing, whatever the numbers are. But he also uses more heavy personnel than just about any coach in the league. Like he's running 2 tight ends out there. He'll run 3 tight ends out there. And I mean, speaking of 3 tight ends, they also have Adam Troutman. So he started 12 games last year. He started 10 games the year before that, 6 before that. You could make the case the Broncos have 3 starting tight ends when you throw Greg Dulcich in there.
Yes, you can make the case. It's all a bit speculative.
It is speculative.
It's all a bit. Yeah, we're dreaming on potential to some extent, but on paper it does feel that way.
Yes.
And I agree. I'm high on all 3 of those guys. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hate. I did put that as one of my top 3 offensive needs entering camp, though, because I feel there are more question marks than most of these starting positions.
And
what's interesting, Hank, if you'll allow a quick tangent, and this has been a theme on some of the last few Broncos pods I've been on. What we talk about, like adding Chris Manhertz to this offense, it all makes sense on paper for Sean Payton. But then what we're seeing is Russ quietly has bought into it all the way as well, And that's where you like to see stuff like this evolving in the offseason already,
Definitely. What does adding Troutman and Manhertz mean for Greg Dulcich and how much he's on the field?
I mean, I think Manhertz Dulcich is the 1-2. It's the Javonte Samaje of the running back room.
Yep.
As we stand July 18th, entering, about to start camp, right? Where one's your number one receiving tight end, kind of your move tight end even, because he's our top option to be flexed out into the slot, right?
Played more in the slot and at receiver than he did actual tight end last year.
Checks out. Makes sense. He's a move tight end. We can line him up as an H-back or put him in motion from the backfield, right? He's our number one candidate to be our top guy to be utilized as that receiving tight end. Manhertz is the other side of that coin. He's our top candidate to be the blocking tight end and be that second guy with some sort of 65-35 type split.
Yeah. I do think Troutman has a role too, though.
And then Troutman with the familiarity in the offense. To me, he's more of a dual threat.
Exactly, yep.
He's more, now, undersized.
Yep.
So to be like, oh, I see some Gronk in him, like put him in line. He can play 90 snaps for you. No, he's not quite that dude. But I think he's got some move skills and he's got some blocking skills. Like plays low to the ground. He's got some good leverage to his game, like. Yep.
Well, and that's where it gets tough to figure out how to build that offense. Because if you're just putting Dulcich out there and saying, okay, we're telling the defense that we're probably passing here, or put Manhertz out there, we're telling the defense we're probably running here. Dulcich, you can kind of get around that by putting him in the slot. But, you played him in the slot a bunch last year, in part because Tim Patrick wasn't there. And now you have Marvin Mims there too. So are you really trying to put him in the slot or flexing him out when you could just say, give me another receiver and play him in the slot? With Manhertz, obviously, big blocking tight end, really good at that. Not much of a receiving threat. So you're just accepting, essentially, that you only have 4 guys who can go run routes, 4 guys who can go get the ball.
Yep.
With Troutman, the dual threat guy, he can be your answer to either one of those problems.
Yeah.
But you're giving up plenty of receiving ability compared to Dulcich and plenty of blocking ability compared to Manhertz, although he is solid at both. He is obviously good enough at both.
Yep.
And so you have to figure out, do you want to put Troutman as your only tight end in a single back formation, run some stretches to that side, run the bootleg off of those stretches? There's just so many questions about how you figure out
exactly
who to play where and when. And luckily, it's Sean Payton who's making those decisions. Yep. And there's arguably nobody better to be making those decisions.
Yeah, and let's face it, what we just spelled out is the ideal path is for Dulcich to develop those other areas of his game so he can be that complete inline tight end who can also flex out and do all this other stuff with.
And that is the big answer.
That's the path to having an answer to this position.
Then he's just a clear tight end number 1. If there's a tight end on the field, it's Dulcich. And if there's a second tight end, then it's probably Manhertz because you're going heavy. You're probably not looking at too much of a receiving threat, but Troutman's a nice little twist. You could move Burton around if you want to get weird with things. But I am curious what this is going to look like and how these reps are going to break up, because Troutman might have a significant role. Like there's a world in which Troutman's on the field 15-20% of the time.
For sure, man. Especially in the red zone and stuff. Like I think he could be a real threat in 2 tight end sets down in the red zone, close to the goal line and stuff.
Last year he was out there for 57% of the Saints offensive snaps. The year before it was 76%.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's
that's Peyton's last year, that's 76%.
Exactly. And so you're just assuming he's taking a big step back with Manhertz and Dulcich. It's going to be weird. And again,
but
Sean
that
Payton,
familiarity and trust says a lot, man.
Absolutely. And it's not like you gave up a lot. You gave up a 6th round pick to get Troutman in a 7th, but it's also a 1-year contract. So
it's a prove it deal.
Exactly. So we'll see. I have no idea what this is going to look like, except when there's a tight end flex out, it's going to be Dulcich. That's the one thing you know for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And when it's a heavy set, it's going to be Manhertz.
Yep, Manhertz is going to be out there in some form.
Yeah. If those are your locks for the 50.
Well, yeah.
Troutman has a big leg up.
And we haven't even mentioned Alberto. And I think that's probably
classic move tight end.
Albert O will be at his best when he's lined up at tight end with Dulcich. I think Dulcich will probably be at his best when he's lined up as a tight end with Albert O. Just in terms of the passing game, those two together make a matchup nightmare because you have to play them light. And the problem is you probably can just go nickel against that and be just fine because neither of them are going to expose you in the running game as blockers.
But nickel, you have 5 light DBs.
Yeah.
One of those guys is getting matched up against 6'4", 240.
Yeah.
So that's where you're picking your advantage. The other side of this is I don't think, Russ has never had great tight ends.
No. I mean, he had old Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had Will Dissly.
Greg Olsen,
Bozeman.
maybe. No,
was old? He might have been there for a year.
Yeah, maybe. But, I mean, as the chat's talking about, it just gives you a lot of options, especially the Dulcich Manhurts combo.
And this is where, if you give Nathaniel Hackett all these options, I don't think it goes well. And, I mean, we saw that last year when Albert O couldn't even get on the field. When Albert O, yards per route run was, I think there's only 3 players behind him.
Yeah.
He was like 21st out of 24 who ran a route for the Broncos. That just didn't work.
Should have been the same thing, though. Same concept. I mean, heavier sets, run first, lots of versatility and stuff. And
that's where
it didn't quite work out.
But even, I mean, there were runs. I'll never forget early in the season when they were like running left with Albert O lined up to the right. And somehow he's blowing the block so badly that the run the other direction is just getting blown up in the backfield from the backside because Albert O can't even get a hand on a guy. And I don't know.
Does Albert O make the roster?
I think so.
Yeah, huh?
I think Tommy Hudson gets cut. I think Nate Adkins gets cut. And then those are your 4 that you bring into the season.
Oh, Nate. Get him on the practice squad. Come on, Nate.
It'd be nice.
Come on. We believe in you.
It'd be nice. But that's the thing. I mean, you could make the case that Hackett used Dulcich well just because you look at the raw numbers and he's got, 41 receiving yards per game. Next best for a tight end is 26. But then you watch the running game and some of the screens that they're running behind him, those are getting all blown up because Dulcich is out there. And so he did hurt them in the running game. So luckily it's Sean Payton making the calls and figuring out how to do all this.
Year 1 as a tight end,
True, definitely.
Yeah, and I think at UCLA you did see he was a better blocker in space than he was in line. And shoot, some of those screens, maybe you want to slip those out where Dulcich is the guy running with the ball.
Definitely.
We're blocking for Dulcich.
We love tight end screens in Denver.
Oh, yes.
Any final thoughts here, or should we move along?
We should move along.
I think we should move along also. We'll move along to Breckenridge Distillery.
Let's go.
Did you know that Breckenridge Distillery is the world's highest distillery?
Dude, elite. Of course, my alma mater has the highest football field in the whole world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How high is it?
It's like over 7,000 feet.
Wow. That's really high.
Yeah.
What's the elevation of Mexico City? Isn't that crazy?
Oh, yep. Estadio Azteca. I mean, it's more of a football.
It is soccer.
I'll look it up while you tell the good folks about
I'm sure somebody's played football
Breck
there.
Distillery. I mean, they have.
Okay. Sorry to ruin the world.
Hey.
But
How dare you, sir.
Breckenridge Distillery was founded in 2008. They're most widely known for their blended bourbon whiskey, which is a high rye mash American-style whiskey. Their Breckenridge bourbon is also one of the most highly awarded craft bourbons in the United States.
Good stuff.
If that's not going to sell it to you, this probably will. Breckenridge bourbon is actually the official bourbon of the Denver Broncos.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Is it really?
No, official. Yeah.
Oh, man. I've seen their beautiful Broncos Breck Distillery bottle.
Yeah.
Handle. Whatever you'd call it. Yeah.
Handle makes you sound like an adult.
Yeah. Good stuff. I've drank that. It's delish.
And other
We've
people
had this
agree.
on tailgates, Henry.
Oh, we have, haven't we?
We have.
We have.
It warms you right here.
It does warm you right there. They won the world, I should
give it to them.
Yeah, so they're one of the most highly awarded distilleries. Like I said, probably they've won 3 Icons of Whiskey Awards.
3.
They're a 9-time winner of Best American Blended winner at the World Whiskeys Awards by Whiskey Magazine. They're 4-time winner.
Bill Russell of whiskey, 9 titles.
Yes.
Woo!
4-time winner of Colorado Distillery of the Year by the New York International Spirits Competition.
Oh my God.
They've won so many different awards. We'll read some of the others on a different day.
They're above Coastal Bias.
They are above Coastal Bias.
We are not, but they are. That's amazing for them. Good
Breckenridge Distillery products are available in all 50 states. You can shop your local retailer or visit BreckenridgeDistillery.com for home delivery of award-winning Breckenridge spirits.
Great job, Henry.
And also, check out our new friends over at Bet365.
Let's go.
They, I still have to figure out what I'm betting for the British Open. I'm not just calling it the Open like I'm some...
Right.
I don't know. I'm not...
I lost bets on Wimbledon. That's kind of tennis's British Open. I hope you fare better than I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's see. Rory's plus 750.
Oh, don't do it. Rory's straight. Sucker style.
I know. But I always do bet.
He just won the Scottish. This is what we do every year with Rory. True. We get hype because he looked good in the nonsense tourney he just won in the warm-up.
Shaw 63.
I know, Henry.
That's what he does.
This is the Rory special.
Shoodle 63.
Don't fall for the trap. I beg you not to fall for the trap.
The thing is, I also just really enjoy cheering for Rory.
Oh,
but
shame
his
on
name
you,
obviously
sir.
jumps out. For some reason, Scotty Scheffler, same odds, probably better golfer. I'm not touching him because
Ricky Fowler kind of litty these days.
Yeah.
Victor Hovland.
Is he really going to win?
Back in Northern Europe?
Wow.
Could he be feeling it? The
that
Norwegian?
Is true.
Rombo?
I'm not touching Jordan Spieth.
No, do not do that.
Colin Morikawa. Irons can play up there maybe a little bit.
Boom, send it. Colin Morikawa it is.
I have like 10 different guys I bet on.
Great.
And I just bet on like 4 of them every week and it just kind of rotates.
The beauty is Bet365, they have so many options here. They actually have all these guys boosted. Oh, Ricky Fowler, first round leader, boosted.
Ooh.
3-pay parlays. They've got all sorts of amazing boosts. And what I love about them is you sign up. I think you have to, at sign up, $10. $10 is minimum deposit. Then you place a minimum $1 bet on anything. You know, Rockies to win or lose tonight, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That bet hits. Hits means win or lose. Boom. $200 bonus bets into your account instantly. And you can use that however you want. You can make $201 bets. You can mix and match. It's whatever you want. It's yours to play with. Get in on some Broncos futures.
Mm-hmm.
College football's around the corner. Plenty of Nuggets awards to mix and match with. Avs to win the cup is boosted. Get to Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 and have yourself a blast. They have been so much fun. The app is awesome, man.
It is. So turn $1 into $200 of bonus bets when you join Bet365. Download the app, deposit $10, and claim your $200 in bonus bets as soon as you place a bet for $1. Download the Bet365 app and use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Colorado.
Yes.
Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, drum roll, please. Azteca Stadium, Mexico City, altitude 7,218 feet. Gunnison, Colorado, the town of my alma mater and the home of the highest altitude of any football field in the world, 7,700. Booyah! Booyah!
Wow.
Austin Eckler's alma mater, Western Colorado, I think we're called now. It was state when I went there.
Austin Eckler threw a fit yesterday.
Good for him.
We'll get into that later, though.
Good for him. Oh, ooh, yay! That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's fun. Okay.
First though, our Bet365 top 5 Broncos players.
Let's go.
As we think they should be rated in Madden.
Dang.
Yep. So this isn't our predictions for who should be the 5 or who will be the 5 best in Madden. It's who we think it should be.
Yeah. If Hank ran Madden, this would be his top 5.
Yep. So I think
critiquing.
Number 1's Pat Surtain.
Adoy.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't really much of a conversation.
No doubt about it. Better be a top 3 rated corner. Honestly, better be the top rated corner.
I have a feeling he won't be, and I have a feeling it's going to be like weirdly low. It's going to be like a 93, and we'll be like, well, what did you want from him then?
Right. What are you taking off? What are you subtracting?
Yeah. There's really nothing you can subtract.
Right.
Like,
yes.
maybe
yes,
they'll
yes.
try to hit him on the speed. Because there'll be like a 92 speed, 91 speed.
I don't know, man. Again, though, Madden, do the right thing. Everyone remember, athleticism is a per size metric.
Uh-huh. It can't be in the game, though, because it's just deciding how fast you are. How fast you move.
I suppose, but does that extra length, are you able to make that up? Make up that lack of speed with the length? If not, they need to fix the game. That's what's in the game, EA.
That is what's in the game.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
Yeah.
Justin Simmons, he's number 2.
Locked in.
This
Top
is another
twos are
one
locked
that's
in.
just not tough at all.
Yeah.
Number 3 is where it really gets interesting.
Yeah.
There's cases that can be made. This is where you just hit underachievers, I guess.
Like 4 guys on the short list, probably.
I got to 5. I could even expand it past 5. Now that I think of it,
that you could argue for place number 3.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's just throw some names out there. Randy Gregory. I think when he's healthy, which doesn't factor into this,
Definitely in the mix.
then he's
There's
right
not
up
an
there.
injury rating?
There's an injury rating. It doesn't change your overall rating, though.
Like, get it right, Madden.
Wow,
It
you don't like
should.
that.
That's life, man.
I mean,
That's life.
your rating is. That just means you're more likely to get hurt in the game, though, and that doesn't change how good you are when you're in the game.
Nah, good point. Good point.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, he's right in there.
Certainly checks off lots of boxes.
Yep.
Might not have maybe some of the career achievements
That's
to
the thing.
warrant a higher rating than some of the guys we're talking about. But if you're creating a rating and rating all his skills,
Yeah.
he should rate very highly because he does
Exactly.
a lot of things well.
Exactly.
The same could be said about maybe a Baron Browning.
Yeah.
Though in more
Lower tier.
limited spurts.
Yep.
As an NFL player, he's shown it on the field, which makes it harder.
Javonte Williams.
Yes.
He's another one who's right
Yes.
there. And then you hit the offensive line, who I still think I'd probably put Garrett Bowles first, and then Powers, maybe even Meinertz, and then McGlinchey.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean
I think McGlinch has to be in the top 2.
you do. The pass protection just isn't
in
that
Madden.
good.
I moved him from right tackle to guard. Shouldn't he rate higher
He
as a
would bump
guard
up.
than like a Ben Powers?
That's true. That is true. That is what would happen to
And
Madden.
in
He's
in
not going to be
real
listed
life
as a guard,
and in
though.
Madden should be. I know, but these are things, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where's Russ come into all this? I think it's a bit of an O-line v D-line, though. Because I would rate
Yeah.
Zach Allen and DJ Jones higher than any of the O-linemen you just mentioned, Henry.
That's probably fair.
Right?
Yeah.
So we've set the field. Who are you going with number 3, Hank?
How does Javonte only have 4.4 yards per carry? Is that what he's at? Yeah, 4.4. 4.4 as a rookie, 4.3 last year. I just need a little more from him. Give me Javonte number 3. Give me Javonte number 3.
It's hard to predict because we haven't seen him post injury, so
That is
his
true.
speed rating is purely speculative.
It is purely speculative.
As is breaking tackle rating.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's back to full health. I'm putting him right there.
Let's go, Henry. Positive Hank. Don't you say he wasn't positive. Here he is. That little ray of sunshine we all love, huh?
How the hell do I do this? Give me Randy Gregory 4.
Whoa.
He's by far the most talented
let's
player
go.
left, except for Jared. Those two both
At a
talent-wise.
premium position, too.
Yep.
I think that matters.
I don't think it does.
Well, I mean, for football heads like us, it does.
It does.
Yeah. We're doing this for football heads.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Who are you going with at number 5? O-line?
I'll go Jerry
D-line?
Jeudy. I'll go Jerry Jeudy.
No, you did Jerry Jeudy?
No.
Oh. Good for you, man.
Yep.
That's actually a very good top 5.
I think Jerry might
I
wind
endorse
up
that.
higher. The thing is, Randy, when he's healthy, is just a monster.
True. Yeah, honestly, in retrospect, Javonte looks a little high now.
He does. Flipping him with Jerry would probably be smart, but
Yeah. Or just moving Randy and Jerry one spot up and Javonte goes to 5.
yeah.
But This is what you said on the pod. Can't
this is why I said
now.
there's no changing. So number 1, Pat Surtain. Number 2, Justin Simmons. Number 3, Javonte Williams. Number 4, Randy Gregory. Number 5, Jerry Jeudy.
You're just our little ray of sunshine. You're so positive about Javonte. He's way up there, you know?
Yep.
Love that.
He's good. He's really good.
That's what Bet365 brings out of you.
That is.
Yeah. This positivity we all love.
Who is my worst omission? I think
being
Miner's,
honest, probably Russ.
Yeah. How would you?
You just called him a Hall of Fame quarterback and
not for what he did last year.
Outperforms any rookie
I don't.
in a pro day setting.
Well, yeah.
So give me, what's the highest rated rookie on Madden? He must be at least 2 overall higher than
probably like a 70.
Yeah, 76 to 78, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he needs to be a 79-80 at minimum.
Which I think is probably right around the number
That's
4,
where
number 5.
Mahertz would be.
Manhurts.
Manhurts. What am I doing?
I have no idea why you do that. I think of Bill Maher a lot.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird
I had
thing.
Manhurts from
2012?
earlier in my head. Damn it all.
Yeah.
Dude, I think you're underrated DJ Jones.
Yeah.
To
But
me,
do
DJ
you think
Jones
he
is the
should-
biggest omission, but honestly, he's a very reasonable slot in at 6.
Should Zach Allen be in front of him?
Could make an argument.
That's the tough
I
part.
think DJ has done a little more at
Definitely.
the NFL level the last 2 years. I think he's more position versatile, scheme versatile, and a smidge better against, like, more complete as far as defending run and pass.
Yeah.
So I gave him the slight
I'm
edge.
not sure.
I think Zach Allen, if you're
The
playing
pass, though.
owner mode in 2 years, will be the better player. Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know. I wonder about DJ Jones against the pass. Not whether he's good or not, but in terms of the well-roundedness, it might be Zach Allen. Like DJ Jones, he doesn't give you sacks. You know, if you get 3 sacks from him, that's a good year.
Though, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not all sack numbers. It's like how much are you moving the pocket and getting in the backfield. I feel like he does that, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, Zach Allen has that length and strength. Like, he's a pretty good penetrator himself.
Yeah. It's tough. The offensive line, I think, is really tough. I think you could
really tough.
Anybody but Lloyd, you could kind of put in whatever order you want.
I don't know. You might be a smidge too high on Miners.
That's
just
fair.
as far as like what has he actually proven at the NFL
That's fair.
level.
The pass protection's a big knock.
Yeah.
All right.
But he is a great athlete with great size. I mean, I get why.
Oh, definitely.
Like, if you're compiling a Madden rating, again, that's another guy that checks off a good amount of boxes.
All right. Before we talk more about Javonte,
Yes.
Kind Love. Kind Love is awesome. They're an official partner of DNVR.
Yeah.
The Kind Love cannabis is always great because you get a consistently great experience.
They're farm to table.
They're farm to table.
They grow it themselves.
They do.
Yeah.
Quality, integrity, consistency, variety, and safety is what they are all about.
That's right.
Just
all local.
Just like us.
Yeah. There's some of those we probably don't value as highly as Kind Love.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
We also aren't farm to table.
That I would disagree with a bit more.
You think we are farm to table?
Yeah. Who else created this content? It's us, bro.
That's true.
Yeah.
Isn't that true of all
We're
media?
Cooking up the content.
Not
an
we
aggregator.
shouldn't name guys. Yeah.
Not an aggregator.
We don't need to get into specifics,
Yeah.
but there are people who don't. That is
Right.
fair.
Right.
Yeah, so they are farm to table. They've got all sorts of cool things like the Turbo Core. It's a 100 milligram stick. Looks exactly like a toothpick. It's full spectrum cannabis concentrate. And so it has a little pointed tip. You shove it right in there. You slide it into any joint, blunt, or cigarette. Instantly infuses it. It's vegan. It's natural. There's no chemical processing whatsoever. They utilize a patented process called microencapsulation.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get sticky. It doesn't get messy. It just helps the overall burn temperature and curates a smoother, more pleasant experience.
That's good stuff.
So you can get the Turbo Core, the Turbo Joints. There's all sorts of Turbo Keef and all that too. Only at Kind Love. So visit one of their stores in Cherry Creek or North Denver. Mention DNVR and you'll get the DNVR exclusive discount of 25% off all Kind Love flower, pre-rolls, and their Turbo Joint line. So visit their website at kindlove.com for their full extensive menu and online ordering.
Hell of a deal.
Yes, and also head over to Baxton Shanker.
Head over there.
I spent a lot of time in cars these last few days. A lot of opportunities for car wrecks.
Right.
But I was not in one, which is why I did not call Baxton Shanker. Also, I guess I was in like Canada and Montana and all that. So
I think their jurisdiction goes to Montana.
I think it should.
I
think it should.
Yeah. What if something happened to you on that hike? Would Backus or Shanker or their great team with offices all over the state have been able to help you?
The tough part is I'm not sure who you sue in that case.
The park.
Yeah.
I know.
But that's
I know,
like,
it's the park.
People were saying like they shouldn't let people up there. It's like, what do you mean? Like they can't just not let people up there. It's a national park. You can't say no, people aren't allowed here. Like they can just walk, you know?
Right.
So that part makes it tough. I guess there are like the chains that are hooked onto the wall, or there's like a ladder that you got to climb up on the side of the cliff to get to the cave. If that were to fall off, that's where there'd be a lawsuit.
What I love about Backus and Shanker is all these great philosophical debates we could have of like agency and decision and protection. They have you covered.
They do.
They have all those things covered. Years of experience.
Oh, yes.
Phenomenal
30,
teams
more than 25.
all over the state. And they win for you. They win for Colorado families. And the beauty is you call these guys, you tell them what's up. They'll inquire. They'll look into it for you. And you won't spend a dime until the good folks at Backus and Shanker have brought home the goods. They win. You win. You win. They win. That's the dealio they've got. It's the partnership we hope to see from Russ and Sean Payton.
Wow.
Backus and Shanker helps with all kinds of injury cases when you weren't at fault. Car accidents, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrian trucks, pedestrians, trucks. So I don't think the thing falls under it, the trail. They can even help if you're injured at work. Call us at 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Backus and Shanker wins.
So
Unlike
yesterday was the deadline to come to a contract extension for any players who are on a franchise tag.
Yep.
There were 3 notable players on the franchise tag: Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard. No deals for any of those guys.
Wow, 3 things in common. They're all running backs.
Ah, yes. They are all running backs. And because they don't have contract extensions, they're forced to just play on the franchise tag, which is a 1-year, fully guaranteed contract. It's like $10 million?
Talk about agency and choice, huh?
Any of them could be tagged again next year after the season. They get $12 million. $12 million.
Well, and that's
slightly
the problem.
heftier.
Is the tag is that salary on the tag you're getting is an average or a top 5 salary at your position.
Yep.
And of course, running backs are. I could say underpaid. I could also say such reasonably priced players at that position that it's very easy and economical to just tag a guy and pay him like a top 5 running back.
Well, and then since it's the average of the top 5 salaries, none of the salaries are high because all those guys can just get tagged before they get contracts.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of this cycle that you get yourself into when nobody gets a deal.
It's a catch-22 indeed.
It is a real catch-22. And the running backs are upset, as they should be. Austin Eckler had like a whole big thing about running backs are important. Like, you guys need to see it. Like, it makes a difference. And then he just gets all the quote tweets of all the Super Bowl stats. There hasn't been a 1,000-yard rusher in the Super Bowl in however long. That's won a Super Bowl in however long. There's only been a couple who've even made a Super Bowl. You look through all the Super Bowl winning running backs, like 15 years. Yeah, 20 years. Yeah. But, I mean, that's just the modern NFL. And so it's
also like part of that's just cap structure and Super Bowl winners are built around expensive quarterbacks and wide receivers and offensive tackles and edge rushers.
Expensive quarterbacks if they're Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. Otherwise,
who've actually won.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
otherwise expensive quarterbacks don't win.
Relatively speaking, though, those quarterbacks are still expensive as far as like
that is true.
How expensive the rest of the roster is.
That rookie deal thing. I guess there were still a couple on the rookie deal.
As a contender,
it's been a couple years
though.
To
save money on some positions, and running back's a very easy candidate for that.
Because there was like that 10-year stretch when it was the rookie deal quarterbacks who were just going crazy.
Yeah.
That ended like Mahomes was in there. Russell Wilson was towards the start of it.
Yep. It's a third-round rookie quarterback, too.
Which is even better. So, yeah. So, you spend your money at the premium positions. You don't spend money at running back. It puts the running backs in a tough spot. And like I said, it's kind of that self-fulfilling thing. And it's tough to see this going away. So, like, all the running backs are upset. Sounds like at least a couple of these guys won't be reporting to training camp. Saw how that went for Le'Veon Bell. I guess he got, like, the big contract. But he wasn't really himself after taking... Was he just 1 year off?
Yeah,
he was just 1 year off.
Yep.
It's gross.
A disaster.
And really, to me, the only thing that you can do... I mean, it takes like a huge change in the CBA the next time they renegotiate it to find something that's more fair.
What's rough about this is that position is kind of peaking right around when these guys get to that rookie contract being up.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a ton of test cases last 15 years of guys going from 25, 26, 27 and that 27 to 31 stretch being like their career year.
Exactly.
That's when the fall begins. And so it's really hard to invest in these dudes. What's crazy is for a second, I thought we'd solve this a little bit where guys who were dual threats as receivers and runners, Christian McCaffrey, Zeke Elliott's a top 5 pick because of this. Austin Eckler, I think, fits this brand. I mean, they're following the mold of greats like Marshall Faulk and LaDainian Tomlinson, right? Like, I do think when you impact the game in all phases like that, Alvin Kamara fits. Your career's longer.
Yep.
Look at guys like Darren Sproles, Danny Woodhead. When you're able to not have to only be used between the tackles, those like high leverage, high intensity miles are limited. I think you can prolong the career. It's, you're more versatile. You impact the game in all phases, but
Saquon Barkley,
that's kind of fallen off.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley should fit this mold.
He should.
Deebo Samuel, who was
Tony Pollard,
the guy. Tony Pollard should fit this mold to a T. Deebo, who was like the end all be all, right? Of the he's merged the running back and wide receiver position. He's having a hard time getting paid.
Yeah. It's
Eckler
crazy.
is the perfect factor in all this, right? A guy he should follow Darren Sproles' mold and be able to play into his mid-30s. He's not getting paid. The league is just saying, you know what? You can bring that versatility too. I don't care. I'm going to find a guy who does even that in college.
Yeah. Well, and then you see it going backwards too with like Joe Mixon taking less money. There's a bunch of guys taking pay cuts. Apparently Saquon, so he gets $10 million this year. If they tag him again next year, which they will, of course, they'll be $12 million next year. The Giants were offering him $19.5 million guaranteed. And then toward the deadline, they increased that to $22 million, which is the same amount of guaranteed money he gets if he gets tagged and tagged. So why would he take that? Because, well, at least you get next year guaranteed if you get hurt this year. But why would you not take that? Because it's just, there's no long-term security there. And you'd still much rather just hit the market if you can. Because if Saquon did hit the market, he would have gotten a big contract. Because somebody would be willing to pay it. It's just that the Giants have so much control that why would they let him walk?
It's really tricky, man.
It's
really tricky. And I mean, like, Josh Jacobs is a guy who only played 1 year at Bama, split carries, like not a ton of tread on the tire.
Yep.
Tony Pollard, same thing at Memphis.
Yep.
Saquon, you can explain a little more because it's like, look, he's been pretty injury prone, man. Like, that is a risk to take.
I mean, he hasn't missed that many games, though. Like, he missed the season, and he wasn't the same the season after. The numbers went down. But also, like, the numbers go down when you're playing on a bad Giants team. How much of that really is him?
We call that the Shermer.
Because what? He played 16 games, 13 games, 2 games, 13 games, 16 games. It's like he misses a few a year, but what do you expect from a running back? You know? There was the 1 year he really missed, and the year after he ran for 3.7 yards per carry. And that kind of get lumped together. I don't know.
Makes you think of the Falcons drafting Bijan Robinson top 10, or
it's just not worth it.
The Lions drafting Jahmyr Gibbs top 10. When, Tyler Algier just had a huge season for the Falcons as a rookie.
Yeah.
Or, the Lions just let Jamal Williams, who led the league in rushing touchdowns, walk.
Yeah.
And, like, are they just going to let Gibbs and Bijan walk in 5 years or franchise tag them
Definitely.
and go through this?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? But that's why,
Crazy, man.
nothing will change until the CBA change. And that's why, like, all these running backs are going to be pushing for the change. So Players Association is going to have to make some sort of push. And I'm not sure how exactly that works, whether it's, abolishing the franchise tag, which seems unlikely.
Right.
Reducing the rookie contract to 3 years, which also seems unlikely.
Yeah.
You could say, like, instead of at your position, you kind of group the position. Say, like, average of the top 10 offensive linemen instead of top 5, since there will be some more higher salaries. Average of the top 10 or top 5, I guess you'd still keep it quarterbacks. Average of the top 5 or 10 position players for the franchise flag, skill position players, instead of just being so running back, tight ends. And you see so many people running into issues with, who's the tight end who wanted to be considered a receiver? Jimmy Graham. He was like, I should be a receiver. So you do see some conflicts. I think there's some defensive end, outside linebacker conflicts that happen. So I think if you were to push for that structure, then nobody would be willing to tag.
Maybe there's a top 5 skill position bracket, top 10 that you can make,
That would...
Obviously not including quarterbacks, but...
The owners want the control of the running backs. And I still think if you just go back to the way that all the rookie contracts were given out 10, 15 years ago, instead of just being slotted, you had to negotiate the contract. I think it would solve a lot of these problems.
Well, and as a top pick, you are at least making top dollar in that rookie contract.
Yes. And I think if you're a running back at this point throughout the draft, teams realize that's when you're most valuable. Like, you do have more negotiating power there. And you wind up, everybody gets higher salaries in that case, instead of just you play 4 years for cheap and then you get paid, except, running backs, you're actually kind of washed by then.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, is they need to get paid in college. Those are prime years. But then when's the okay, so we can increase NIL dollars. You're still not going to get quarterback or wide receiver NIL dollars. Look at the superstars in college football these days. When's the last time a running back was like a Heisman finalist? Even?
Because if you're a running back who's capable of playing receiver, play receiver. If you're a running back could also be a mobile quarterback, take your shot at quarterback.
Yeah.
There's no reason to, unless, you're 5'11", 220, and you really don't have many other options, which some of those guys are. Maybe you could be more of like a safety linebacker, but
220 is like a little bigger, but that's almost Debo.
That is true. But again, Debo's in that conversation of guys who are in a tough spot.
Debo's struggling.
That's crazy.
Part of the issue is no one wants to pay you when you're having to run between the tackles all this time.
Yep.
You get tackled at the first and second level.
And if
it's like a red flag.
The Giants had just given Saquon the contract he would get on the open market, and the Raiders had given Josh Jacobs the contract he'd get on the open market, then the franchise tag next year, it'll naturally grow to like 10.5 or whatever. That might jump up to like $12 million. Because you have 2 more big deals in there, but there's just no big deals. And so the franchise tag just doesn't grow, and there's a whole bunch of problems. And I think the owners like where they are. But
yeah. I mean, it's...
At some point, something's going to happen.
It's a market inefficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, there's so many people saying, well, it's not... It is what it is. The market dictates the value. It's like, well, no, it doesn't, because for 6 years they just get paid what they get paid. There's no market. Like, it's just the rules put in place that dictate it, and that's the issue. So I don't know. I'm curious what's going to happen, but at some point somebody's going to change something.
It's kind of a trend at football at all levels. I mean, we've had a wide receiver win the Heisman and a defensive end be a Heisman finalist more recently than we had our last running back be a Heisman finalist.
It's just crazy.
Think of that.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, running back still ruled college football, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even recently. Did Derrick Henry win a Heisman?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So you still see it, just not as much as
before. But again, that was 2015, man.
Really? That's crazy.
Bryce Love was the last running back Heisman finalist in 2017. And that Stanford offense was kind of a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yep.
A dinosaur I loved.
Oh, the best. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Javonte shouldn't love what he sees from all this, obviously. I wonder Because I guess if his contract expired, let's say it's just right now, today, and say he's healthy, does he get franchise tagged? Is he worth that $10 million for 1 year?
Probably.
I think so too. Only because you wouldn't want to, if you could get him for $7.5 million by letting him hit the market and give him a 3-year deal, you'd rather just give him the $10 million for 1 year and get rid of the risk. Mm-hmm. So he would be probably a tag candidate already.
Yeah, that 1 year deal really costs you nothing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yes. And the kid,
what's Frank Clark making this season? What's that 1 year deal?
I think 5.5 to 7.5.
Like, that's not that far off.
Yeah.
A running back franchise tag.
It's crazy.
Is like a street free agent deal you can do after the draft.
And I wrote the whole big thing.
Think about that, man.
Before free agency about how paying running backs by the numbers, you should do it. Like when you're talking about where to invest money, because the market has fallen off so much, the teams that actually do give, I can't remember how I did, was top 5 money or top 10 money, or I think it was at least $10 million a year. Those teams wind up winning more games than the teams that don't. It just happens to be, on average, you get your 1,400 yards of production and this many touchdowns and all those different things. It's just that there's the 40% chance that in that season, the 30% chance that they get hurt and you just don't get it. Because if you only take the guys who are healthy, then it's like, oh my God, how could you not take this deal? It's 1,900 yards a season.
Right.
But even for the average outcomes, it's worth it. It's just that it's a risk.
Well, and it's worth it if you're trying to win more games than you lose. If you're trying to contend for a Super Bowl, maybe it's not so worth it.
Possible,
and that's football ebbs and flows, man. I think we always look into these trends and we don't realize football, it's so few regular season games. These trends, the pendulum swings on these trends like crazy. Like veteran quarterbacks with big money have won the last 3 Super Bowls, Hank.
Yeah.
Since Broncos Super Bowl 50, only 2 rookie quarterback contracts have won it, and it's Mahomes in his last year.
Yep.
And it's Wentz, who doesn't even start in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that trend has swung the other. We're still talking about the old trend, while the pendulum's already swung to the opposite now.
Definitely. Let's see. So yeah, it was Mahomes last year, Stafford the year before that, Brady the year before that, Mahomes the year before that, Brady the year before that, Eagles the year before that, however you want to call that, Brady the year before that. So again, it's Mahomes and Brady. And it's like you try to find trends and things, and it's like, well, no, you have 2 freaky good quarterbacks who do 80% of the winning.
Yep.
And so you have like 1 or 2 others that you can try to pull from a trend.
Peyton, Brady again.
Yep. Peyton, who was underpaid at that point.
Rookie contract, Russ.
Yep.
Flacco. This was before Flacco got his bag.
Eli.
And then, Eli, who
Rodgers.
was paid. Right.
And that's back before quarterback salaries got super inflated.
Yeah,
that's back. Those were all below like the 12% of the cap threshold.
Yeah.
Where now you have a handful who are getting like 18%.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Smart teams will find the answer. There are inefficiencies here. And for the teams, it's obvious what it is. You find a good running back and you get to hold on to him for 6 years.
Well, and the thing is, like, Saquon Barkley's don't grow on trees. You literally can't find that kind of talent at running back every year, but he's also injury prone. Josh Jacobs, I don't know. There might be 2 backs every season that come out who are about the talent of Josh Jacobs.
Jacobs is a freak.
0.5 running backs every year that come out that are at his talent?
Yeah.
Okay, so every other year we get a guy at his caliber come out from college. Yep. Tony Pollard, that dude is kind of a dime a dozen.
Yes.
Like, he's a starter. He's a high-end starter. So we could say he's one of the 20 best running backs in the world. Okay, yeah, I could find 2 to 5 coming out in the draft every year. I feel like with the right development in a couple seasons could be that good.
Definitely.
Right? So, every case is that, like, and that's the other thing with these trends. All these trends we come up with, they're all based on single decisions that are made in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm. It's true. I don't know. I do think we talked about this a lot during free agency and before the draft. the idea that you can find starting running backs at the end of the draft is kind of crazy, because you don't find them any more often than you find a starting lineman or a starting corner or anything like that.
That's right.
It's just that because they're running backs and that's a name it's like, oh, no way, he came from that round. It's just a topic of conversation.
And you can also like survive, like many positions, you can survive with a day 3 selected interior offensive lineman. You can survive with a day 3 selected running back. You can survive with a day 3 selected tight end, linebacker, strong safety, right? Like we never go, oh man, that free safety was found in the 5th round. But guess what? All the top paid safeties are usually day 3 picks.
Well, and even Justin Simmons. It's like, what's wrong with Justin Simmons? Oh, nothing. He's really good. He's a 3rd round pick.
He's a mid-3rd. Yeah.
He's a mid-3rd. It's like, wait, why wasn't he drafted higher? Oh, he's a safety.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, okay, we'll take him in the 3rd round.
Absolutely.
That was one of the weirdest drafts. But yeah, like rookie running backs over the past 4 seasons who've had 500 yards. There was one of the 14 drafted in the 7th round. That's Algier. Or was that Pacheco?
Could be either.
Yeah. 6th round was the other one. That's one of 17 in the last 4 years. 5th round, it's one of 11. Like, you don't find those guys very often. Usually, I mean, year 2, year 3, year 4, it might change a little bit. But you do, like, if you want the 80% hit rate, that's in the 2nd round. The 30%'s in the 3rd round. 24% in the 4th round. 3 of the 4 in the 1st round.
Yeah.
Like, you do need to give them, if you expect to draft a starter, it's got to be in the top 100 picks. Just like any other position.
But as the market's proving, finding a starter far easier than finding like a starter at a premium position.
Why not just go get Kareem Hunt for $2 million a year? Because I bet he'd take it now.
Right. Or Ezekiel Elliott or Dalvin Cook.
And you brought the small sample size.
Other part of this.
The small sample size with so few games. Dalvin Cook, he's going to break off 2 60-yard touchdown runs. How does that swing those 2 games? Like, those are massive swings.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It is interesting. It's not good for Javonte. I don't know when the CBA is up.
You would be my guy to know that.
Yeah. It seems like this will be a big piece of it. Because running backs are not happy, and they shouldn't be.
I know, but we just, like, 60% of the positions are in the same exact boat. I'm not sure there is a fix.
Man. I don't know that it's this boat. I mean, because what? The franchise tag is $10 million. At least the franchise tag is more for the others.
Safeties,
I guess, could be similar.
I guess offensive guards are living pretty good. Tight ends are maybe in a worse position.
Yeah. I wonder. We'll close this out just by looking at what the franchise tags are. Because I'm curious.
You want to do this on the other side while you look that up?
Sure. Let's do it on the other side.
Because Foco has some amazing Broncos stuff in the mix. You're probably like, man, how many more Broncos t-shirts or hats do I need in my life? I need to diversify my Broncos stuff. Foco's got you covered. They've got bobbleheads. They've got ponchos.
Wow.
Always love a good poncho.
Who doesn't?
They may have a beautiful beach hat for you, a little bucket hat, which is what I wear on the beach. I become Bucket Dre. It's actually a completely different vibe. You guys couldn't even imagine the kind of chill that Bucket Dre brings to the table. But go to Foco, use that code DNVR. You can be rocking the Broncos and get that Bucket Dre vibe that you've been seeking out this summer. Also, they have a ton of amazing other stuff. Slippers, you name it. They do have hats and shirts and awesome bobbleheads, decorations, Christmas decorations. Foco has it all. They are, they've always got your back with all Colorado sports, all their gear. Look at the beautiful Cale Makar, Nikola Jokic. You can get like a Game of Thrones inspired bobblehead at Foco of one of your favorite players. The Terrell Davis bobblehead they have with Old Mile High behind it and the 3 flags and TD's wearing an old school orange Broncos jersey is perfection. I think it was out of stock. Now it's back in stock. We need to get one for the studio. I'm doing that like when I'm done doing all my other stuff. Check out Foco. Please don't buy out those TD ones because now I want one for the set. And they'll have your favorite gear covered. Get the best gear around by using the link in our description. for all non-presale items. Use the promo code DNVR for 10% off. Great deals all around. Boom.
Boom.
Thanks, Foco.
All right. So,
yeah, before we get the Foco out of here.
Highest number for franchise tag quarterbacks, 29.7 million.
Yeah.
Linebackers get 18.7 million because that's edge rushers who are outside linebackers.
This, yeah.
So that's why Roquan, I guess maybe Roquan could get tagged, but almost nobody gets tagged.
We're running through some stats. Let's keep it skippy.
Wow. Wide receiver, 18.4. Defensive end, again, helped out by the edges, 17.8. Defensive tackle, 17.3. Because I guess when you're taking the top 5, you got Chris Jones, you got Jeffrey Simmons, you've got Aaron Donald. All of a sudden, that number goes way up.
Those guys are hard to find.
They are. Cornerback, 17.2. Offensive lineman, 16.6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 12 positions. 6 of the 11, 16 to 18.
Corner and O-line also getting skewed because, like, you got to have... O-linemen, you got to have 7 on a roster. DBs, corners,
True.
you got to have 5 on a roster, So there's a much greater lower class that's taking that number down. If you did just starters at cornerback and O-line, that number would be far higher.
It only takes the top 5 salaries, though.
Okay,
for average.
Fine.
Safety, 12.9. So that is a big jump down because just about everybody who was in a quarterback is 16 to 18.
Yep.
Tight end,
12 is almost running back prices.
12.9 was, it's closer.
Yeah.
I'm sure running backs would see a big difference in a 33% raise. But tight end, 10.9. Running back, 9.57. Kicker, punter, 5.2. So it is pretty massive drop off.
It really comes into the longevity of the position.
Yeah, because you can't
impacted by that more than any other position by a mile.
You can't bet on.
Yeah. So I mean, that's where the combo needs to change. It's not just that position based and like the value of the position and running the ball in the running game. It also has to do with the wear and tear that the single running back has to endure and how that's impacting them financially.
Yeah.
That definitely has to be a greater part of the combo.
Yeah. I wonder what they'll do.
You want some questions from the count?
I'd love questions from the count.
We have a couple super chats too.
Cool.
Dear Hanker and Simones, of course. Become a member at DNVR to ask us questions. DNVR.com for free shirt and everything else. I'm ready to file class action lawsuit on behalf of Broncos fans. We've been incredibly damaged by the last 5 to 7 drafts. Are the Broncos one of the worst drafting teams in the league as of late? And which year since PFM should we use as the injurious flagship draft class for a lawsuit against the MGMT? Love the count.
Wow. I mean, there was the one really bad one. Was it the last? It was one of the last Elway drafts.
I'll find it for you.
Okay.
It hasn't been a great record, but the team hasn't... Like, if the team made the playoffs, all of a sudden you'd see more Pro Bowlers that were drafted on this team. I don't know. I mean, some of these drafts have been pretty bad.
There were some rough ones.
I mean, look, the really bad one is trading out of the Devin Bush pick to take Noah Fant, Reisner, and Drew Lock.
Yeah.
And then Draymond in the third with Justin Hollins and Juwan Winfrey.
It's not great.
It's not great. But you do get Russ out of some of those guys. Reisner and Draymond did give you some good years as starters at maybe not premium positions, but like the next tier after the premium positions.
2017, you had Bowles, DeMarcus Walker, Carlos Henderson, Brendan Langley, Jake Butt, Isaiah McKenzie, D'Angelo Henderson, Chad Kelly.
That's the one you use for your lawsuit.
It is. But then also...
Garrett Bowles has salvaged that, though.
Garrett Bowles has salvaged it. DeMarcus Walker got himself a pretty big deal.
He stinks.
He stunk in Denver.
Isaiah McKenzie, it turns out, was actually pretty good.
Exactly. There's a few of those guys you look at and say, maybe this is the Broncos screwing up coaching. There's others like Carlos Henderson's
That's the thing, man. Like, the draft is never just pure selections.
Yep.
A lot of it is the losing team you bring them in and the revolving door of coaches and schemes that they can't be developed. And the NFL is not a developmental league.
No.
Like, unlike every other pro league in the U.S., 2016 is the real atrocity. you do get Justin Simmons out
That's
of it.
the thing.
Connor McGovern has gotten his bag.
Exactly.
He's starting with the Jets.
Just not here.
Yeah.
Will
And
Parks
that's
is-
Paxton Lynch, Adam Gotsis, Simmons, Devontae Booker, Connor McGovern, Jano, Will Parks, Riley Dixon.
Jano was a fullback for a while. Riley Dixon's still in the league. Will Parks is still in the league.
Honestly, the truly devastating one, 2015, which I thought was
That's
a
a rough one.
great draft at the
Oh,
time.
it was so fun.
Shane Ray, Ty Sambrailo, Howerman, Max Garcia, Lorenzo Doss, Darius Kilgo, T-Sim, though, Torian Nixon, Josh Furman.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Who could have seen that coming when you took 2 DBs from Tulane?
I know, that was DBU. How could they
Yeah.
have failed us? Arvada
Wow.
Luke.
There were other, I mean, Sylvester Williams, Monte Ball, Kayvon Webster,
there's
Quanterra
some
Smith,
rough
Tavares
ones.
King, Vincent Payton, Zach.
There's some rough
The
ones.
thing is, I bet if you look through most teams, you see bad ones. Like the Broncos have been below average in drafting. I wonder how bad, though.
I mean, it's 7 rounds, and, the draft is an imperfect science, sadly.
Yeah.
Or thankfully. It's a matter of perspectives. You ready for a question from Arvada?
Yes.
Luke? Okay. Hi, friends. I'm curious about your football fanship origin stories. When did the desire to be a ball knower begin for you? Cheers, Al. Or AL. AL? Yeah, I think he's abbreviating Arvada Luke. AL, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, as long as I've been alive,
Yep.
like I was just born into a football family.
Born into a football family. Elway was God in my home.
Yeah, he had
And-
been God.
I wanted him to win the chip. And I followed the Broncos, and that's just kind of what we talked about and what inspired me and what I would wear. And yeah,
Yeah.
kind of born into being football bros.
Yeah.
Great times, man. Shout outs to our family.
I think my earliest memories are probably like Jake Plummer, but barely. Like mostly just like getting benched. Like I have a very vague memory of being Missoula for the 2005 AFC Championship game.
Yeah, Arvada Luke. I grew up in Italy, so I'd get like VHSs sent from my grandpa who lives here in Lakewood, of like Buffs games, Broncos games, and I was following Elway and wanted him to win a title like coming up as a kid, and he was always one of my sports idols, and that's kind of how it all took off. Great question though. Appreciate it. Ready for some super chats?
Let's do some super chats.
Yeah, let's.
I can't see that far.
Also, please, one more like, get us to 69. That'd be legendary.
That would be.
Greg S. Greg with 2 G's. Just bought tickets for game 1 in Miami. Hell yeah, I live in Tampa. Never thought I'd be able to go to a game. Super excited. Hope to see DNVR there? Question mark, exclamation mark.
I hope so. I'm gonna push to be there. We'll see how it goes.
I think, Greg, we might have some options. Stay tuned. And that's
Interesting.
amazing, man. That's going to be a great matchup.
Especially if the Broncos can beat the
Daniel v. Sean Payton?
if the Broncos can beat the Raiders and Commanders first.
Yeah. I think they got it in them. I think they got the
That's
hot start
possible.
in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isaiah Slow Talker with the legendary $4.99 super chat. Do y'all feel confident in a plus 45 hundo bet where Broncos get 2 touchdowns in every game? It also says touchdown not specific to offense, defense, special teams. Man,
Wow.
what a legendary season-long bet.
So every game you get 14 points.
I'm in. Just so you know, I'm in. I want to see like the averages of the last like few Saints seasons and like Russ seasons and stuff like that.
I would guess it's a bad idea. I mean, what are the odds?
Yeah, plus 4,500. You're
Yeah.
parlaying 7 games to get a
Wait,
multi-touchdown
I thought it was the whole
bet?
season.
Yeah, the whole
Oh,
season.
17. Yeah.
Yeah, 17 games, sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
So like the odds should be significantly higher than that.
it would be fun.
You're getting shorted on the odds, but it
I
would be
think you
fun.
are, yeah.
It'd be like a cool
Yeah.
survivor pool.
It'd be
basically.
worth it for the fun aspect.
I mean,
But I would wonder if there's
you
a
can be invested in it past September, and that
I-
makes it cool and fun.
Yes. I wonder if there's a team last year that did that, because I would guess there wasn't.
Right.
It would
Yeah, I
take
gotta
forever to
see-
check.
I got to see the data. He really
Yeah.
threw up. But, like,
It's
tune in
probably not a
tomorrow,
good bet,
'cause
but
we'll
do it
have
because
that
it's
for
fun.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh, look, LFG. I caught Plummer's towel when he exited the NFC playoffs win over the Cowboys in January 99. Epic.
Epic.
Also, LFG's photo is epic, too. Love that for us.
Oh, wow. Who is that? What is that?
So we'll find that out as just like we will the 2-touchdown bet when we tune in tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. Full array of shows on the DNVR network. Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. From Henry and I and the legend, Alyssa behind the sticks, we're out of here.